We got him from the Dogs Trust when he was like 12 weeks old.
Okay.
Full male, we think.
Yep.
Assume. He looks like one, but he's quite, he's been neutered. He'll be 2 in June.
Checking what month we're in.
Yeah.
Almost May, yeah, okay. So
Yeah, but he's very like soppy, great family dog. We've got a nearly 7-year-old daughter. So right from the get-go, we were like really on he's like no biting and stuff like that. And he's very, very like nice. Nice natured, but a bit maybe like nervous.
Okay.
He's got a best like dog playmate that he plays with every day.
Cute.
He's always very keen to like meet other dogs and stuff, but sometimes he can get a bit anxious and bark.
Okay.
It depends on the dog really. Like it's sort of a bit hit and miss. Like when he was younger, he was fine. Like we just would play. But obviously, as he's got a bit older, he's sort of got a bit more. Not sure.
Figuring out who he does like, doesn't like.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I don't know whether that's just because he's nervous or whether it's just in his nature to be a bit more like.
Okay. Well, what we'll do, if you want to bring Dexter out, if you want to bring him out on his lead, we'll go into this first enclosure. We'll just carry on our chat, but I'm conscious that it's quite warm. I don't want him to stay in the car for much longer.
Yeah. I've just given him a drink of water actually.
Yeah, of course. But if you get yourself ready, I'll stick this in the bin.
Have a sniff.
He's a bit lovely, isn't he?
He's a bit lovely.
Come around this way. Might be a little bit easier.
Dexter, this way. Come on.
What beautiful eyes, isn't he? Bloody hell.
Yeah, I know. It's a bit hit and miss whether it's going to be a good-looking one or not. You know, some of them can be a bit scary looking.
They go for an ugly stage, don't they?
Yeah, more scary looking, but...
Oh, he's lovely. Have you travelled far today? Not too bad.
About an hour and a half from Kent.
Bad enough.
Just through the, yeah.
Oh, tunnel.
Dex.
Notice you're using a slip lead. Is that what you always use with him, or?
Most recent one, yeah.
Can you
Like.
take your drink? Sorry, that might make your life a little bit easier.
Yeah, sorry.
Watch you struggle.
I've just bought a Haughty head collar.
Okay.
Which is very easy to control him. He's not fully used to it yet, so I took him out for a walk yesterday.
Yep.
And like saw some dogs and stuff. Which was fine, but then he was sort of like a bit fussy with the head collar and that as well. But it might work in time.
Yeah, just not something he's comfortable with.
Whereas this is alright, but he still does pull a bit.
Okay.
Dexter.
Did you bring your head collar with you, just out of curiosity?
Yeah.
I think she's a herd of dogs, shaky.
Have a little wander around with him for me.
Yeah. Come on in. Good boy.
Oh, I've got a little bit all overwhelming, isn't it, suddenly, mate?
I know, there's horses over there.
Oh, it's all just become a little bit too much, isn't it?
Good boy. Oh, you're whining today, are you? You don't normally whine, to be fair.
I can't imagine dogs hang around long enough for you to get to that point, to be fair.
Yeah, Sit.
Okay, let me put him away. I'll come back, we'll have a chat, have a little debrief, and we'll kind of go from there. He's a lovely dog.
I think he's just excited. He wants to meet them.
Yeah.
And then it depends what the other dog does.
Yeah.
Depends on how he reacts.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, darling. So, do you feel like there's a rhyme or reason to his reactivity, or not necessarily?
Not really, just
No.
I think it's the frustration. Maybe he sees another dog,
Yep.
and he just wants to go over.
Okay.
But then obviously once he gets there, it's a bit hit and miss whether he would like the dog or not. Like,
Okay.
I don't.
So does he approach every dog, or does he get to go towards every dog that he sees?
Oh no, no,
okay.
No, I wouldn't let him. But if
No,
he just
okay.
sees one,
Yep.
like if I'm walking and there's one behind, he'll
Yeah.
sort of look back all the time.
Okay. He's lovely, isn't he? He's a lovely boy.
And also, like, going to the toilet, unless he's desperate, he doesn't really go to the toilet on a walk unless he knows the route. But in
Okay.
a new place,
He'll hold
he'll hold it.
okay. Oh, darling.
even if like another dog's just gone and he goes and sniffs it, like, I purposely go and take him over there if another dog's had a wee.
Encourage him to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I don't know whether that's like a nervy thing.
It generally is. It's
Yeah.
generally a nervy thing.
What are you doing?
Obviously, that's their way of kind of leaving their mark. Same type of dogs.
Exactly.
This
yeah.
is where I've
yeah,
been.
yeah. He's not very dominant in that respect.
Oh, which is unlike the breed, of course.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, no. But he's been neutered. I don't know whether that's
Yeah.
anything, but we didn't neuter him because he was showing any behaviours or anything. We just did it because, well, we didn't want him to then develop more behaviours, if you know what I mean.
Oh, you're handsome, aren't you? And does he behave the same regardless of who's walking him, or does it vary?
To be fair, it's mostly me anyway.
just you, that's fine.
Husband will take him out and he says he's quite good. Like, he tries to do like heel work and stuff with him. But
Yep.
where we live, it's lots of open space and woods
Okay.
and stuff. So we
Yep.
do tend to let him sniff a lot.
Yeah.
And then when we have to walk up the road, he then walks by my side.
Perfect.
So, you know, he's pretty good, to be fair.
And I'm all about that balance. I don't think it's healthy to have dogs stuck to the side of you for the entirety of a walk. I think it's important they get that opportunity to do that bit where, you know, they're working and so we can show them how to pass things.
Yeah.
But I do then think they should be able to move freely, safely, obviously with long lines, etc.
And a sniff.
Do I smell nice? That really tickles. It tickles.
Dexter.
Oh, you're lovely, aren't you? Oh, beautiful boy.
Sock
And when do you
inside.
think this all started? We can't necessarily pinpoint.
I mean, he's always been quite nervy and stuff.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, he's not like... on Mother's Day, we took him to quite a big, busy park. And obviously loads of dogs and people around, so it sort of blew his mind a little bit. But we had him on a harness and a long lead and stuff, so he's always pulling and whatever.
Yep.
And then we went to like an area where there was like a little pond, and he loves water. So we went to the other side of the pond, away from all the others, and there was it's like a spaniel on a really long lead, long line, and he sort of wandered over, obviously too far, and he managed to get to him, and so they had a bit of a scrap.
Okay. Bit of a bicker.
Yeah, and it's that moment when everyone's like looking and like apparently my husband said that, oh, why is that dog even here, sort of thing.
Oh, for goodness sake.
And it's like, it was right over the other side of this pond, let him have a little paddle. Yeah. And
I mean, he's just got as much right to be there as every other dog, right?
Exactly. So I just want to be like in a position where we can sort of go somewhere, and then if another dog does come up to us, it's fine. Like,
absolutely.
You don't purposely. He's not an aggressive dog. He's just a bit unsure.
Yeah, of course.
Of like new dogs and that.
Yeah, of course. And he doesn't. So dogs charging at him. It's a tough one because dogs charging at him. Those dogs are rude. They shouldn't be off the lead if they're charging at him because that person's not had your permission.
Yeah.
They don't know what he's going to be like, and they also don't know what their dog's going to be like as they get to him. So that dog shouldn't be off lead. That is unfortunately the reality of it, but we know that that's never going to change.
Yeah, that's happened quite a few times. Like we had a massive field, and a lady was walking, I think, 2 miniature schnauzers, quite far away, and I see she got them on the lead, which was fine. We just waited patiently, probably gave us space from about here to the fence.
Yep.
And yet she still allowed her dogs to come over to us. One of the little dogs, after a little sniff, started barking at him.
Yeah, brilliant.
This was when he was younger, and he didn't react. He was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then she said, I'm sorry, he's a bit protective of the other one.
So why?
And I was just,
did you come over?
I should have said something, but I was just a bit in shock. I was like, oh, okay, but now my dog's just had a bad experience. And that's happened a few times, them sort of situations where people are just silly, like
oblivious, and they don't read the room very well. Moving over to the side is quite an obvious sign that you don't want that situation.
Exactly,
No, we can absolutely, we'll get you to a point where he can cope with dogs charging at him, etc. But he shouldn't have to tolerate that. And if a dog charges at him and he's, you know, reacting at that point, you've got to kind of look at it as, is he reacting or is he trying to tell off a rude dog?
Yeah.
We don't want him to do that. We don't want it to become a habit, but that particular instance is not his fault.
Yeah, exactly.
But we don't want it to become a thing. We don't want him to feel like he's got to be defensive around all dogs.
And how our previous dog, we had a Malamute.
Okay.
She was she was awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
she a couple of years ago we had her put down. She was 13 and a half.
Wow.
And she was great until she was about 4. Then she was off lead, and then she had a bit of a run-in with another dog.
Yeah.
And ever since then, she was a bit funny with other dogs.
Okay.
I should have sorted it out, to be fair, but I just didn't. But she was awesome, like apart from some bit picky with dogs.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that I do the right thing with him.
Of course. He's so beautiful and he's so chilled for what
Is there
he
water
is.
over there? See if you want some.
Yeah, nice fresh bowl of water for him.
He does a little pour up like that, sort of.
Oh, sweetheart.
Dexter, yeah. Yeah, what's this? Dexter. No, he did just have a drink.
Not good
in the
enough?
car.
It's that old thing, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make
For
him drink.
sure, for sure. Right, okie dokie. What would you say is, apart from dogs charging at you, what is another typical situation that would be a trigger for him, do you think?
Squirrels.
Squirrels.
Which, you know, obviously,
Yeah.
prey drive, no, it's fine. Like,
Yeah.
we have a lot of squirrels running about outside our house and stuff.
Okay.
So we live, we've got a little horse yard, literally from back here to that fence.
Yeah.
That's where the yard is. And we've got horses and sheep.
Nice.
Nice. So just, he gets a bit, so if he's on the yard, if I'm mucking out the stables and stuff, there's no horses around. But then if a horse appears at the fence and he's like off the lead, I'll hear him bark and he'll like sort of run at the fence.
Sure.
He might wag his tail and then he'll run at the fence and like an unsure sort of, you're too big for me sort of thing.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
But then when he's on the lead, I can take him into the field with the sheep and the horses.
Okay.
And he doesn't do anything. It's a bit like he's sort of scared I'm going to tell him off sort of thing.
Sure, okay.
Yeah, so...
And with the fence, is it one that he can see through or?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, wooden rails, yeah.
Sure, okay. Okay. And what would you like to achieve from today? What's your goal, realistically?
Just to like get his attention a bit more really, especially when there's distractions, so dogs. I mean, he's all right, he's fine with people and stuff. So yeah, he's a good dog,
but just make him a little bit
exactly,
better.
like he's great in the home.
Yeah.
A little bit protective if like a van or like a person he doesn't know comes to the door.
To be expected.
Postman, he doesn't really like the postman.
I don't think any dog likes the postman.
I know. But like in that situation, should I be like if the postman's coming and he's already noticed it and already sort of barking?
Yeah.
What should I do? Should I put him in his bed? Because he sort of sits in his bed when I tell him, and then he still makes a little grumble.
Yeah. Okay.
So what should I be doing in that situation?
Well, it's one of those ones that
I don't want to stop him being that's his instinct.
Exactly. It's a genetic thing, and also it's part of the beauty of having a dog is that apart from my own, they don't do it, they're useless. But having someone come into the door and knowing it because he kind of alerts it to you. It's not about stopping it entirely, but it's about making sure that he stops when you tell him to. Sending him to his bed is a really good thing. It's perfect because it gives him that alternative. I don't really necessarily mind the fact he's having a little grumble because he's not really acting on from that, and he's stopping. He's still following instruction. You know, we can't necessarily train the guarding out of him, and we don't want to do that. That's part of the beauty of having him. He's so good, such a good boy, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he is. And he's so his playmate is a schnauzer, and she's quite anxious as well. Okay. So she's more barky.
Sure.
So I don't know whether that
barks. That's bizarre.
Is it?
No.
Oh, okay.
no.
Okay, yeah, I've watched some videos on your website actually. No, but she's they can be quite protective. Like she'll like sort of go behind a stranger and like.
Oh yeah, they can be quite a guardian.
Yeah. So I don't know whether like a lot of it's him learnt from her, like, especially around the horses as well. She's very anxious to like chase the horses. She won't do anything. Whereas he might.
Okay.
I don't know because
we don't.
So I never want that situation to come about.
Of course. Okay.
So yeah, so distraction really. So I want him to be calmer when there's other dogs. And obviously just some tips really when I'm at home on the yard and there's horses and stuff.
Absolutely, we can do all of that, not a problem. What I shall do then, I'm going to go and grab a dog. They won't meet or interact. I just want to see what he does and what you do in the situation, and we'll go from there. What you spotted? Oh, I really like him. Have a little wander around with him for me.
Yeah. Come on in. Good boy.
Oh, it got a little bit all overwhelming, isn't it, suddenly, mate?
I know, there's horses over there.
Oh, it's all just become a little bit too much, isn't it?
Good boy. Oh, you're whining today, are you? You don't normally whine, to be fair.
I can't imagine dogs hang around long enough for you to get to that point, to be fair.
Yeah, Sit.
Okay, let me put him away. I'll come back, we'll have a chat, have a little debrief, and we'll kind of go from there. He's a lovely dog.
I think he's just excited. He wants to meet them.
Yeah.
And then it depends what the other dog does.
Yeah.
Depends on how he reacts.
Yeah.
So,
oh, darling.
Supposed to drink that, mate.
We've got a dog here, Hank, what does exactly the same. He's a shepherd.
Yeah.
And he likes to put his feet in the bowl.
He was, to be fair, I had to teach him to like water because he was like when he was pup, he didn't really like it. But then, as soon as he then got into a bit of a paddle and stuff. My parents live down the coast, so it would be lovely to let him off on the beach. But I don't know, maybe use a long line or something.
A long line. Yeah. If in doubt, use a long line.
Yeah.
Safety is the #1 priority, as some YouTubers always say.
Well, safety is #1 priority.
Some YouTubers. Okay, so he's really good, which is also a little bit annoying, but not at all, because you've put in a lot of work, evidently. But he is actually kind of not hell-bent on something happening when he sees that dog, but there is a bit of an expectation that he may get to say hello. You can kind of see it. He sees it and he almost immediately wants to kind of move towards it.
Yeah.
And that is really where the issue lies, the fact that he sees that thing and he wants to get closer.
Yeah.
All unknown dogs, this will be the kind of rule as of today, if this isn't already the rule, all unknown dogs, we're just going to pass, we're just going to ignore.
Yeah.
If he gets to interact and approach lots of unknown dogs and lots of dogs, they become more valuable, more interesting, and it will just increase that desire to go over. But I don't, he's a sociable boy, and any sociable dog, I think it's really important that they get that safe outlet. So it's not about not allowing any interactions, but it's just being selective with it and ensuring that he's learning to pass more. But he did, you could just see that he ever so slightly just changed a little bit, in the sense of everything just became quite quick with him. He just, then he became quite mally, in the sense that just very tiptoey, everything got a little bit overwhelming for him. And I noticed he does put a little bit of pressure in the slip collar a little bit. Not too much, not a horrific amount of pressure.
I can still, I still feel like I've got the control.
Still manageable.
Yeah, better than a harness.
Absolutely.
So I did, like when we first got him, we did all the puppy classes and stuff. And I know obviously they're not very well received from you guys. I see the video the other day, I was like, But to be fair, I completely agree, because it was just a group of us. And then when they got to the point where they was like, oh, just try and have a chat with somebody else with the dog there. And he was just all over the place and no one told me what I should be doing. And like he's trying to get to the dog and then looking over there, and I'm just trying to have a conversation with someone. I was like, what am I supposed to be doing? Is that going to help?
So some classes can be good. Some classes can be good. They can be really good for exposure, but it all depends on how they run.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
and they have their place, absolutely, but as you just said, you're not really too sure what to do in that situation. You didn't really get any direction.
And I should take him to places a bit more often, like that we'll see a lot of dogs. I take him for walks. It's quite quiet where we are, and obviously where I live we've got land as well, so usually, like, not on a daily basis, we'll go around our land, and then maybe 2 or 3 times a week we'll go for another sort of trail walk, but not necessarily in a busy place with other dogs and stuff around.
Sure. So would you probably say that maybe seeing unknown dogs can be a little bit of a novelty for him, maybe? Not something he sees often?
Probably, yeah, but like at home, obviously, we've got like his mate that he plays around with every day.
This is the Schnauzer.
Schnauzer, yeah. They love each other. And they have a good run around together. And then they've had visitors with other dogs as well, and they've been fine. They've run around together. Not recently, actually, only when he was a bit younger. So probably, yeah, I'd say more recently he's not seen that many strange dogs.
So just on that, with what you've said about, you know, is it something that you should do a little bit more of? I would probably say yes, but I wouldn't go overboard with it. Because
really busy.
No, but also not doing it, just an example, if you do your usual walks at the local area on your land, changing that to 5 different walks a day and going to all these different places, that's not something you're necessarily going to do long term anyway. So there's no point doing that now, but maybe once or twice a week going to places where you might see more dogs or unknown dogs would be good for him, so that you can show him what to do in those situations, so that we can show him that that's going to be there. It doesn't change what we're doing together. Just out of curiosity, what made you try him with a head collar?
Because this sometimes I do feel like it chokes him a bit.
Okay.
And I did try when he was a bit younger a head collar, but it was one that had 2 little rings that were behind his head.
Yeah.
It's like a figure of 8 thing. It kept slipping round.
Okay.
So, and then when I started watching your videos and stuff, said about the slip lead.
Yep.
And it is a lot better.
Yeah. Okay. And would you say, so obviously he put a little bit of pressure on with the dog in here, would you say that is, he would put on more pressure if it was a busier environment, so if there were multiple dogs? Would he become a little bit more prancy, is the best way to put it? Or about?
Maybe. So yesterday I took him for a walk and there was quite a few dogs coming at once. Yeah. But he was wearing his head collar, and I think he's not quite used to it, so he was a bit like, he was sort of backing up and sort of tossing his head a little bit. Because he wanted to go forward, but then I was sort of saying no.
Yeah, okay.
And he was like, oh, don't know what to do with his head.
Yeah, okay.
But we've not been in an environment where there's loads of dogs around.
No.
With this, to be fair.
Okay.
On Mother's Day, whenever that was, March.
End of March, I think, yeah.
We went to a big park with loads of things, but he had a harness on.
Yep.
And he was very pulley.
Yeah.
Obviously, and then I was like, okay, I'm not doing that again.
Lesson learned.
Yeah, no, because I've got horses and stuff, I can sort of deal with the strength a little bit, but it was a bit annoying. Like, he was all over the place.
Just makes it hard to manage, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Just makes it really frustrating.
Yeah, this is really good, and then the head collar as well feels even easier.
Okay. Okay. I think what we'll do today, because he's really not terrible at all, and he's a good boy. I think what we'll do today is we'll find, I think, his loose lead walking skills. We're going to look at that a little bit, making sure that the understanding is consistent. We'll look at what to do in situations where he sees those unknown dogs, so we can show him what to do and ensure that the tools we're using in those moments are working for him. Yeah. And I think actually what will be really helpful is that you're able to go away today with almost options, so that if you do the work we do today and you struggle at all, you've then got different tools, etc. that you could try. Because actually he's not really given me any reason at all to change from his slip. And it doesn't sound like he's really got any need for the head collar either. My concern with the head collar is that it would potentially add to the frustration in the moment, which is like the backing away, etc. As you say, he's not really used to it, so that may be something that could come in time. My only gripe with a head collar is that it makes it difficult then when it comes to using a long line. I wouldn't clip a long line onto a head collar. But of course, when he's on a long line, you still need to be able to communicate with him. So that's a little bit of a downside there.
I think that's also maybe, so when, obviously this, because he's got such a small, like narrow neck and stuff, this does slip down a bit. So that's one of the reasons why I thought maybe having something on his muzzle would be easier. It would stay in place a bit more, because obviously it clips around up here.
Okay.
And to be honest, he's fine walking, like, he walks really nicely with it. It's just when he saw the dogs yesterday, he was a bit unsure. But then he'd only worn it a few times before, so I don't know whether to continue with it, or?
I personally would. You could continue with it. You can give it a go, get him used to it. But if the behaviour but if the behaviour around the dogs with the head collar on doesn't change and he continues to back away, etc., that would suggest to me it's not the tool for him, and maybe adding to his frustration in that moment. But as you say, it is still early days, and it is something that can take quite a bit of time for dogs to get used to. What I would like to do, though, is move him onto a slip collar rather than the slip lead, just because the slip collar is a little bit thinner.
Okay.
And I find the stopper on the slip collar's better, so it'll stay in place a little bit nicer. And it's a bit more versatile, so you can pop a long line on it, because something else I want to do with you today is obedience is really important. So lead walking and recall is really, really important. However, we want to make sure he's able to make good choices when he does have a little bit of freedom. So if he's there, we don't want to micromanage him for the rest of his life. We want him to be able to, oh, cool.
Yeah. I've got another lead that I sort of clip onto this sometimes just to give him a bit more freedom.
Yeah, nice.
Nice. But to be fair, like if I was just taking him out, like across the road, got a little bit of woods and stuff, I might just have him on like on his collar, just a long lead and stuff. But obviously with his collar, he does pull a bit.
That was actually a really nice example. If you do that again, you can see how it immediately triggers that opposition reflex, and he just kind of hung into it a little bit. Oh, that time he didn't do it, he backed into it. I was like, let me prove you wrong. Have you got something bothering you?
You don't know what
what happened?
What is it?
What's bugging you? A bug. Right. Oh, is that nice?
You know, he's such an itchy dog. He's not got any disease or anything. But it's just such a scratchy dog. It might be just anxiety or something.
Oh, darling.
Don't you? Hey?
Oh, pickle. Okie dokie.
You want to get going, don't
obviously
you?
Obviously, you've got a slip lead on him, so assuming you know how they work. Yeah.
I think so. Have I got it round the right way?
You've got it on the perfect way.
Good.
You've got it on the perfect way.
Okay,
the slip collar is exactly the same as the slip lead. It's just the collar version. As you can see, it's a little bit thinner. So your one is 8mm. This one is 6mm.
Okay.
Another reason why I prefer the slip collar to the slip lead is because the round lead I don't like. It doesn't feel very comfortable in my princess hands.
Okay.
I prefer a flat lead.
Oh, do you?
It feels
no.
comfortable. It feels nicer. Whereas that just doesn't feel very comfortable.
Is that a horsey one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a red horsey lead.
Okay.
Which I sort of sometimes I wrap it round myself and then it's attached to this and just.
Well, yeah, that's the beauty of it. You can go hands free with it.
It is great.
But you've kind of the fact that you just said, you know, sometimes you do the flat collar, sometimes you, which is a good thing because you're not depending on the tools, you're not reliant upon them.
Yeah. And
he, you know, has some understanding regardless of what tool you're using.
Yeah.
Okay, if you want to pop that one on for me.
So I have got at home actually, it's not obviously like this, but it's one that does tighten.
Yep.
Is that the same thing?
What, this a slip
a collar?
How do you mean? So
it does tighten, so it's got like this.
Yep.
And it's got like a little chain with loops.
It sounds like a martingale. It sounds like a martingale collar. So generally it's like a bit of fabric and then it's got a bit of metal at the back. Yeah. So that's a martingale collar.
Okay.
I would say it's a bit of a hybrid between a flat collar and a slip collar.
This is a bit more.
Yeah. So
pressure. When
it comes to tools, we've got this bit. It's a ladder. I think of a ladder. At the bottom of a ladder, we've got the flat collar. It offers the least amount of communication. It's got all that surface area, that pressure to be distributed through. Yep. Above that, we've got slip leads, slip collars. Then we've got head collars, and we've got prong collars. The martingale is that little hybrid there. It's not quite a slip, but it's not quite a flat collar. But it's just.
I used it on my other dog.
Your Malinois.
Yeah. Not this G.
And that little stopper, if you want to slide that down for me, push the button in the top. Perfect. And then if you want to.
And it should be how tight?
Yeah, about there. Perfect. Yeah. That's a nice snug fit. Lovely. And if you want to pop that on his slip collar for me, and then you can take his slip lead off.
He yawns a lot. And he stretches a lot. Is that a good thing or a nervy thing?
It depends. That's my answer could be clear as mud. It kind of depends on the situation and the circumstance. If he were at home and he's yawning and he's stretching, I would say he's probably just tired and relaxed. If he's outside, he's in an environment that's a little bit new or a little bit overwhelmed, it could well be that he's a little bit stressed.
Yeah.
But over time, something that will come with confidence building, of course, and just Oh, you are so precious, aren't you?
He's like, you going to give me any food?
Oh,
or?
I can give you some food if you want me to give you some
To be
food.
fair, like when I'm out in a new place, he won't really take treats
Okay.
very much. But when he's like on his own and at home, he's brilliant with treats.
Okay. And is it treats that you give, or are you using his daily food allowance?
So if I was to take him out with like his playmate around our fields and stuff, I take his normal food and just hide it and stuff. So we play that. But he usually does have a breakfast and a dinner.
Okay.
And I just use little treats because he doesn't eat a lot of them. He just has treats.
God, you're
whatever he
molting, aren't you, mate? Crikey. Holy. Look at it, it's just going everywhere. So, I would recommend hand feeding, to be honest with you.
Okay.
The reason that he's not necessarily worried about those treats is for a number of reasons. So the way dogs view the world is everything's competing for his motivation. Ben, me, that blade of grass, that water bowl, that cup, other dogs.
Yeah.
We can tap into and utilise his food drive and become more motivated. You're never going to be more exciting, but you don't have to be.
Yeah.
You know, I'm an introvert. The last thing I want to be doing is singing and dancing to try and get my dog's attention. I'm not going to get you doing that, don't worry. But we can tap into that food drive. But if we're giving him his daily food in bowls and he's getting treats on top of that, there's actually no real need for those treats, because if he holds it out long enough, he knows he's going to get fed in the bowl later on anyway. If you harness his food and utilise that through training, looking at the areas that you want to work on and isolating it to that, you will quite quickly see that progress, because actually there will be a need to interact with you. There'll be a need to kind of earn his food from you. So I know he's used to wearing a slip lead, but I am just going to do a little bit of conditioning with this slip collar, just because it will feel ever so slightly different, not majorly different.
So he's a bit of a mummy's boy.
It's okay, I've got a mummy's boy too. Well, two mummy's boys actually. Well done, boy. Good lad. Good boy. And back to mummy. Good lad. So, loose lead walking. I'm going to state the obvious. I'm really sorry. He should have a loose lead. He should be able to pop his nose to the ground, have a little sniff, but he doesn't need any more lead than that. And that amount of lead, for example, is ridiculous, because he's got a lot of lead to potentially make a poor choice with. And as you've already touched on, and we've spoken about already, balance is important. Some of the walk there, a nice big chunk of his walk, doing his own kind of thing, obviously to a degree. But we need to hone in on those loose lead walking skills, because kind of the moment he gets a little bit extra, he does start to teeter out in front a little bit. And what we don't want to be doing is kind of restraining him there, especially where some of this is a little bit frustration. If we're restraining him in that position, if we accidentally were to let go of some of that lead and allow him a little bit more, he's going to immediately ping out. So that suggests to me that he's understanding where he's supposed to be and how you move forward. It's just a little bit inconsistent, and we probably just need to proof it in lots of different environments. So in a second, I'm going to get you to have a little practice with him. You walk him on your right, so the amount of lead he gets is entirely height dependent.
Is that right?
I'm a low rider, so he doesn't get a great deal of lead from me. The amount of lead the dog gets from me would probably be around about that. So Dexter would get that much from me, probably, maybe just a touch less. But if I'm about to pass the dog, I'm not going to let him have that much.
It's a bit awkward, I suppose, because that obviously is...
I'm going to go and get a smaller one.
I was going
I overestimated or underestimated how little his head is. It doesn't need to be that long. It probably wants to be there, so I'm going to go and get a smaller one.
Okay.
Because if I were to walk him past the dog, I'm probably going to want to hold it there, and that's really, really uncomfortable.
Accidentally like unclip it or something.
Oh, exactly that. That is exactly why I don't want to do that. And obviously I've just confessed that I'm a princess and don't like holding this lead, so I don't want to hold the metal either. Let me go grab a smaller one. Whilst I'm gone, all I want you to do, wander aimlessly. If you feel any tension in that lead, I just want you to turn. Okay. Turn and have him follow you. At the moment, I just want you to do some left-hand turns whilst I'm not in there, so turning away from him. Okay. Lovely. And I'm going to go grab a smaller one to make that a little bit nicer. Okay. And if he does anything you like, if he were to take food from you, or you had your daily food, his daily food on you, you could mark and you could pay. Okay. If he's going to take food from you, of course. And wander. Okay. So any tension, turn away. Oh, good lad. Turn away again. Lovely stuff. Nice, let me go grab a smaller one.
Come on. Dexter.
That one's too small actually. Try that one. Just right. I feel like Goldilocks.
Well done. It's like you've done this before.
I know. Funny that. I mean, I didn't get it right the first time though, did I? I think it's just a bit of refining that you both need, and I think maybe exploring different tools for different areas, so more stimulating environments for him. So what you were doing as I went out was perfect. You're wandering around boring as hell, but you're just wandering around, which was really nice. There were a couple of times that you went to apply that upwards pressure.
Okay.
At the moment, I'd like you to refrain from doing that unless he overreacts. The reason I'd like you to refrain from it is because I believe as well, that his reactivity is coming from a bit of a frustrated place. We are honing in with him on teaching him what that lead means, which just means follow me. So it's directional reinforcement. It's showing him which way we're going. If we're doing that just for the sake of it, he can't go up. So he's potentially going to get a little bit confused, and confusion can then build into that frustration. So we want to make sure everything that we're doing is as clarifying, as clear as possible, and as minimal in terms of frustration as possible as well. I actually want you to put as minimal input down that lead as possible as well. So in a second, I'm going to get you to practice some right hand turns as well. So I know this will seem really odd, but this is going to be how we do our next bit when we show him how to look away from dogs. So if he's on your right hand side, when you do a right hand turn, because he's not got much spatial awareness at the moment, because I mean he's a boy and he's just, I mean he's there but his brain's over there. But to do a right hand turn, at the moment what you'll want to do is you just want to pop this arm just behind your bum cheek a little bit, because what that will do is stabilise him. If you keep your arm here and keep moving forward and just try to turn, you might end up toppling over him and it won't look very pretty. Whereas if you do this, keep him there, and then you can steer in with your leg and then bring your arm back to your side. So just as before, wandering aimlessly, doing your directional changes, chucking in a couple of right hand turns as well. I'll probably do a right turn there. And the reason I got you to do it is I can just see that he's just wandering away from you mentally ever so slightly. And we want to bring you together on your walks. I don't want you to be on two separate walks. You're doing this together. If you can kind of figure out with him when you can see him start to drift away, and it's really subtle with him, it's just, you just see him go a little bit. Good lad. So and if he drops his little head to the ground, because it is a pea head, if he drops his head to the ground and has a little sniff, I don't mind that. But he can't drop to the ground and plant himself there. Good lad. Nice.
Like obviously with the slip lead,
nice.
Obviously I'm always pulling up. Is this, I mean, well, eventually is that what I'm going to have to do, or is it just...
You shouldn't have to be honest with you.
No?
Once he understands how we move forward, you shouldn't have to really do anything.
Only if he then wants to go in front, then I'll pull up.
But providing he understands the job consistently, he's probably not going to ping out. So it's all kind of, it'll domino effect.
Good boy. Why not?
Wow. Oh, no.
It's the action of me reaching into my pocket. He's like, oh, what's that? And then I'll give it to him. He's like, oh, actually, I don't want that.
Yeah, I'll pretend to be interested just to humour you. Really nice, well done. And I'm looking for subtle things. You know, proper engagement isn't a dog staring at their handler. Proper engagement is matching their pace, stopping when you stop, checking in, and eye contact is just a bit of an added bonus. Nice.
Yeah, we've been trying to work on the eye contact.
But don't worry too much. Don't worry too much, especially a dog like him and dogs like mine. I don't expect them to stare at me all the time because they are so driven by the environment and so driven by everything else. It would be unrealistic to expect them to look at us all the time. And in doing so, sometimes we can actually miss the behaviour that we like. So, for example, if you were to, you're at the threshold tree, you're at the front door, you get ready to go for a walk. He's sat and he's calm. You could be waiting for ages for that eye contact, and actually we're missing the fact that we like the fact he's sat and he's calm. Being sat, being calm, for me, would be sufficient, and that would probably be us going, because I like that mindset, I like that behaviour you're offering.
He'll do it, he'll look at me, and then, but that paw, just be up, so he's ready ready to go. I'm like, you're not calm, mate, you need to calm.
Nice. Good boy.
Yeah, to be fair, when it's just me and him, he's all right.
He's a good boy.
Come
Keep going forward there, nice. Really nice, well done.
But then, yeah, when there's distractions, he's a bit like, he doesn't really listen.
Just falls apart, not falls apart, but his
Yeah.
brain just melts a little bit, goes all scrambled eggy.
Sit.
Very nice.
Come in.
With such a beautiful face. Go sit. That was really nice. Really well timed that. So at the moment, obviously, he's not taking food from you. Not a problem. If he had daily food, or you had daily food on you, I think it would probably be different. If you were working for his food and you tapped into that food drive a little bit, it would be different. But food isn't the be all and end all. So this particular situation here, when he follows that lead pressure, when he yields it and comes towards you again, that pressure going away and not feeling the pressure is also reinforcing.
Okay.
Being able to walk next to you and feel calm is also reinforcing. Looking away from a dog is also reinforcing. So the lead is reinforcing, as is state of mind. They are powerful. I'm going to ask a really stupid question. I feel like I know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway because I'd ask all clients. Is he quite playful? Would he play with you outside?
Oh, yeah.
Does he have a particular toy that he likes at all?
He loves a tug of war.
Yep.
He will chase a ball.
Yep.
Just anything. He likes to be chased. So whatever he's got in his mouth,
Sure.
it could be a paper bag, and if you go to chase him, he loves it.
Cute.
That's what he does with his playmate. He goes and
bless
nicks one of
his
her
heart.
toys and then runs around.
I would love his heart. Okay. Would he play with you? Apart from his mate, would he play with you around other dogs as well? Not sure.
Don't know really.
Okay. I think what we might tap into and what we'll see works for you both today is maybe using play or a toy as reinforcement for a bit of recall around dogs, today especially. That's kind of the only time I would use a toy as reinforcement, because, for example, with his lead walking, we want him to be nice and calm. If we then try to bring out a toy to where it's a bit counterproductive, we want him to be calm, we want to keep those arousal levels low. If we were to start playing with him and a dog goes past him, he'd probably be more inclined to be silly. But we could use it for recall, so hopefully we'll practice a little bit today. So he comes back, you can engage and play with him or throw a ball, whatever it is you want to do, so we can use that as reinforcement. Of course, you have to be selective when you do that, of course. If it's in a place where there's loads of dogs and the dog's going to be bombing over to you, that's not an appropriate time to use it.
Yeah, the other dog might try and get the toy.
Exactly that. So it does...
To be fair, he's not possessive of toys, food, anything.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, he's not. You can take,
darling.
like, my daughter could take a bone off him. Like, he's so good.
Such a gentle soul, aren't you, darling?
But to be fair, if he was playing with a toy and a dog come over, he'd probably just drop the toy and go to the dog.
Or run away. Chase me.
Yeah, that would be ideal, to be fair.
So. Oh, sweetheart.
But yeah.
Okay, well, we'll see if we can use it. As I say, it's not necessarily the most easiest thing for you to put into practice away from here, just because you can't control everything in the real world. We can control it all here, but that is not the real world.
Yeah.
Okay, in a second, I'm going to go get a dog again. You are going to do it exactly as you've just been doing. The only change you're going to make is you're going to take away some of that lead, so he's not got too much excess, but not so short that there's unnecessary tension, just short enough that if he does go astray, he'll feel that pressure a little bit sooner.
Okay.
But the job isn't changing for him. Just because the environment's going to change and the dog's entering the picture doesn't mean the expectation of him will change. We still want him to walk nicely by our side without that tension in the lead. So you'll do exactly what we've just done. If he looks at Frank and he looks away, brilliant, you don't need to do anything. If he doesn't, you'll need to help him, and that'll be through one of your directional changes. Okay. The direction you turn depends on a few things, but I'll coach you through it and we'll see what's going to be best for him when I come back out. Any questions so far?
No, it's just obviously like when I turn, if he's still sort of looking over there, am I sort of,
at the moment I would just like use that pressure.
Yeah,
use that pressure to bring him away. Just because, as I say, because it is that frustration from him, that pressure could add to it. Okay. And actually, he's responding really nicely to the steering and the guiding anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Lovely. Let me go grab Frank.
Come on, let's go.
Left turn there. And a right turn there. Good lad.
If you don't pull, you won't choke, mate. Come.
Ironically, he's struggling more this time than the first time you saw Frank, as if he's not seen him yet. Okay, let me stick Frank away. Let me come back because he is struggling right now and he is suggesting to me he needs a little bit more in this situation. And I don't really want him to be hacking up like that either. That's not nice.
Yeah, yeah.
And long term, that's not going to do him any favours.
Yeah, yeah.
So in that moment when I came out with Frank, he obviously put on all that pressure himself. Oh God, we both got up, didn't we? What? He put on a lot of pressure himself.
Yes.
And in that moment, he is pushing into it harder to try and make it go away. So that suggests to me he just needs a little bit more, and that is just not the right thing for him. Especially in those kind of close quarters.
Yes.
Because it makes it very difficult for you to show him what to do, but also I think it then adds to his stress.
That's right.
Because
he's not respecting that sort of tension.
Yeah, and to be fair, I would have been surprised if a slip alone on a Mallee, especially in intense situations, is sufficient. That's a stereotypical thing to say. There will be some it's absolutely fine with. But he's obviously just got that little bit of drive, that little bit extra drive that he knows what he wants, and he's quite happy to push through that to get there. And it's not about obviously hurting him or anything like that, but it's being able to talk to him in a way that he understands. And we know he understands it because you've just demonstrated that beautifully, but when the situation changes, it makes it a little bit harder. And I do wonder whether, obviously the way that works is it's restricted pressure. I wonder whether that adds to his stress in moments where he feels uncomfortable, because he puts all that pressure on. Oh my God, there's the stress of that, and then there's the stress of this as well. I am curious to see how he is with the head collar. So going back to that ladder, next step up would be head collar, just to see how he is on that around a dog.
So you won't get that sort of choking thing, but you still get a little bit of frustration. But it's whichever one is going to be best long term, then obviously we'll stick at it.
Yeah, of course.
So you feel like in time just get a bit more.
And I think if that adds to his frustration, I think it would be worth chatting about prong collar today. Even if you don't know anything about them, even if you don't want to go that way, absolutely fine, completely get it. But I think it would be worth at least talking about it. Don't even necessarily need to use it today, just in case you do use that and you desensitise him to it and you get him comfortable in it, and he still struggles then when he's around a dog.
Good boy. Oh, come here, bored.
I just saw him panic. I thought, don't back away, you'll knock yourself out, boy.
He's all right. He's sort of light enough I can manoeuvre him and lift him and stuff.
He's quite petite, isn't he?
Yes,
he's a
he
little
is.
Boy.
Yeah, he's a little boy.
But he's lovely.
Right, okay, right.
Yeah, so if you were to go away and you do the work and make it nice and comfortable and he's happy to wear it, etc., and he's not pouring at it generally, but it still is a struggle then when he's around a dog, then I think it would be well worth you thinking, okay, yeah, let's at least try a prong collar for him at that point.
Does that go on there? That's where I've been putting it.
Perfect. Okay, do exactly what you've just done with the head collar, please. So doing the exact same method, steering, guiding, etc. We'll just see how that changes things. Already trying to rub it off. Not too bad.
He's not worn it very much, to be fair.
Okay.
Good boy.
I mean, not resisting when you're trying to put it on him, so that's a start.
As long as he can open his mouth and stuff.
Yeah.
Like you said though, if I don't have to use the pressure and I can just turn him, then he might be a bit better with that rather than.
Right, I'm gonna grab Frank. I just want to see how it changes things, and then we're gonna give him a little bit of a break, a little bit of a chill in the shade as well. And right turn for me.
Come on, you. Come on. This way.
And is that what you would say typically would happen at the moment?
At the moment, yeah. So
okay.
yesterday that happened.
Yeah.
So you just back up and just try and get it off. But I mean, he was walking perfectly fine until we saw the dogs yesterday.
Yeah. So the only thing I probably would have done differently there is when you got to there, I probably would have turned into him there, because turning away,
Leave it.
having him on that outer edge meant he was able to watch the whole time, which is where that frustration built. So this time, if you turn into him, that's it, and then go towards that corner like you've just done.
Come in.
Yeah, that's not doing you any favours, is it, boy?
Leave.
Okay, let me stick Frank away. We'll come back, we'll chat.
I mean, is that trying to get it off, is that normal when they first start wearing it, or?
It is for dogs that it's not the right tool for.
Okay.
So he responded quite nicely, but again, the moment that the environment changes, he struggles in it a little bit more. It can happen. And I don't want it to be counterintuitive, counterproductive. I don't want it to be adding to his frustration.
Yeah.
Glad. Okay, let me Good lad.
Good boy. Come in.
And what we've got to remember is that where it is one of the most sensitive parts of him.
Oh, what?
There, not over his mouth, over his muzzle, over his snout.
Okay.
And now he's doing really well. You're really annoying, Dexter.
It's just, I suppose, just the time. It just takes him a little bit of time.
Oh, good boy. Did it himself then. Oh, that was nice. Good lad.
Boy. Coming in. Good boy.
Oh, Dexter, you're annoying.
I know.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. Let me stick him away. Let me come back and chat.
Dexter. Leave. We haven't done a lot of being in the vicinity of other dogs a lot.
Yeah.
It's whether we like just spend the time with one tool and see whether it works, or whether you're the experienced one.
Honestly, it's awkward. This is an awkward one for me, because I think you could probably make this work, because what we have to remember is that everything here, all of this is novel to him.
Yeah.
New environment, different tools, different people, different dog, close proximity, all stuff that he doesn't really experience. I think you could probably make that work, but I am also conscious that you've come here today. I think it'd be worth exploring a prong collar, chatting about it, just so you know how it works, so that if you do go away and you do practice with that you've got that option. Because if anything, he has just proved really nicely that he needs that little bit extra communication than that slip lead and slip collar give. Because he was frustrated by the tool in the moment. He wasn't massively bothered about Frank. It was when we're then applying that pressure that pissed him off, not the presence of Frank.
Right. Yeah, like when he got behind me and I was trying to say come on, he was then
and that's when he got. That's the only time he got frustrated. But he's not, as you know, he's not majorly reactive. He's not hell bent on getting over there. He just needs a little bit of extra help. That's all he needs.
Okay. And obviously, I've tried various leads and stuff, so I think I just need to narrow it down and just use something.
I think it's worth giving you these options. I think it's just worth, so that you've got, actually, we've done this for a couple of weeks, but don't leave it too long. Don't go away today. If you want to go with a head collar, you want to practice with a head collar, don't do months and months practicing it,
of course,
not getting that progress. If you're struggling and it's a week or two, I would then, and you're hand feeding as well, I would then consider moving. But of course, if you like it today, then by all means you can go with that straight away.
But it's not something that I'd have to use for a long time anyway. It's just using it whilst I'm sort of showing him these different situations.
Exactly that. So it's a tool. It's how we communicate with them, and if you wanted to use it forever, that is also fine, because it's kind of like a seatbelt. We use our seatbelts. Touch wood. Don't normally need them. And if you like it and you just like that extra bit of stability, then by all means you can. So Frank, when he's teething, Frank is my eldest and he will walk on absolutely anything. However, when I'm working him around clients' dogs, I always have him on a prong collar, and that is just from learning and experience. I previously had a client who accidentally dropped their dog's lead, and Frank was on a slip at the time, and this dog was hell-bent on wanting to eat Frank. So I was trying to keep 27 kilos of dog, which is what that feels like, away with a slip lead and try and grab a hold of another dog. I've learnt from that lesson, and now, even though Frank doesn't need it, I just have him on it just for safety, so I could always keep him at arm's length. But he'll walk on anything, because he understands the habit. He'll walk on a slip, he'll walk on a flat collar. The tool is irrelevant once they understand. But as I say, there is no harm in using it. Some people will use it forever, also fine, there is no harm. I've got one in my pocket. Do you want to explore it? Do you
Yeah,
want to chat
no,
about
of course, yeah, absolutely. Like, where does it sit on the neck?
Exactly.
He's got a very
same place as
weird
the
shaped
slip.
neck.
He has. He's a tiny little head.
Yeah, I know.
A tiny slender neck. Little baby
brain.
neck. Little baby brain. Little baby brain. Little peanut head. You're tired already, aren't you? Hard work using your brain. So, this is a prong collar. Have you seen them? Do you know much about them at all?
Only what I've seen on your
Okay.
on your videos.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
I will say that Dogs Trust RSPCA, there are many people, places that don't like them. But what I will say is that they also don't like saying no to dogs. They would rather put them down. So that's all I'll say there.
Okay, right.
That's all I'll say there.
Or medicate them.
Yeah. And you know, most dogs don't need the medication.
Yeah.
Just a bit of direction. So the worst thing about it is the way it looks. It looks horrific. Can I borrow your arm? I'm going to show you what it feels like. Yeah.
Fine.
It looks far worse than it is. And again,
Blood and gore. I can see it.
I've broken it. It's broken. Let's cut that, shall we? Let's cut to the hospital.
Don't watch Dexter.
Don't look. Don't look. Oh, darling.
I know.
Oh, sweetheart.
What are they going to do to you?
Oh, don't you know?
Oh, that's a bit big. Go on then.
Oh, yummy. Oh, you eating? Oh, big crunchies. Oh, wow. I reckon I might meal out of that one, aren't you? Oh. 2 separate snacks.
Sorry,
So clever. So clever. So the brand that we use is Hermspringer. Is the only brand that we would use. There are plenty of cheap knockoff versions that we would not use.
I wouldn't even.
And they would be unkind.
Okay.
You know, any tool can be misused. A harness can be misused. A slip lead, they can all be misused, and there are poor quality versions of everything.
Okay.
You know, buy cheap, buy twice, and all that kind of stuff. So we only use a martingale style prong collar, which is goes back to what you mentioned about that collar. That is that martingale bit, that chain section. So that allows that pressure to go on, pressure to go off again.
Okay.
But the pressure is just distributed amongst all of those prongs. It's in effect, it's pretty similar to the slip lead in the sense that the pressure goes on, off again. However, it doesn't restrict in the same way a slip would. So it'll only restrict to a certain point, so it's not restrictive in the same way.
Okay.
Bear with me. So we've got these 2 chains. You would only ever clip the lead onto that top ring. So that allows that pressure and release to work. If you clip it onto this bottom one, pressure would apply and it wouldn't release. In the exact same, we want that pressure to go off and the slip to go off. We want the pressure to go off with this as well. We only want him to feel pressure when he needs to, or if he puts it on himself. We've also got this little thing here, which we call a centre plate. Some people call it a trachea plate. All it actually does is changes the directions of the prongs. That is it.
Oh, okay.
It's not a collar that goes on over his head. If it's going on over his head,
You'll scratch his eyes out.
that too. That too, and that is not how we want to do this. But it's a collar that we would open and close and put on in a particular way. If it's going on over his head, it's far too big and it's just going to be useless, to be honest with you. Just for safety. What I don't want to happen is him to launch into that prong collar before he knows how to turn it off.
Right,
because that's not fair.
Yeah.
That's not fair. But also what it allows me to do is if he were to panic, it means I can take away that old new pressure, go back to one he's familiar with.
Okay.
Come on, sweet.
And obviously, you need like the ID tag on and stuff. Do you take your collars off in your home and that, or do you keep a collar on them?
Yeah, mine are naked in the home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
mine are naked in the home.
So could you attach a like an ID tag to the slip collar or something?
Yeah,
or?
you could. So if it can't, again, it depends on what tool you want to use. If you were to use the prong collar, what you could do is attach the ID to that ring that you don't clip the lead to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And that shouldn't really slip round, should it? Because obviously it's
Because of how that's fitted, it is
Okay.
highly unlikely that is going to move.
Okay.
It might slip down a little bit. I actually don't think it will. It's a really nice fit.
Okay.
And
But if
never-
it does, then I would need something to hold on to him whilst I then undo it and then put it in the
Oh
right
no,
position.
it's not going to spin
No?
round.
Oh, okay,
no,
fine.
it won't spin round. It might just slip down a little bit.
Oh,
rather
okay.
than spinning
Oh,
round.
yeah, sorry.
Highly unlikely that it's going to spin round. If it spins round, it would be way too loose.
Yeah,
But where
okay.
it's snug, it shouldn't do that.
Okay.
Come on, Stink. Good boy.
Always expect the unexpected though.
No, it's a good question to ask. I'd rather you ask all your questions. Boy. Good boy. I know, sorry, mate. Can you see that response though?
He's like, "Ugh,"
yeah, so it almost like immediately kind of goes back to turn it off, which is what we want really. We want him to be. We want him to be responsive to it. Good boy. And I know this is hard for him because he doesn't want to walk with me, and I get it. He hasn't got a relationship with me, but we're still not gonna go charging over to you.
Oh, hello.
I'm gonna take you away, darling. Could you do exactly the same? That bit's just there for the safety for the time being. I don't anticipate you having to keep hold of that. And just as before, wandering aimlessly. Nice relaxed arm. He could have a little bit more lead. Perfect.
Come on then, mate.
Same as before, lots of directional changes. Turning in, turning away.
Good boy.
Relax your right arm. That's it.
I think we need to get a poster that just says relax your arm.
Keep. That's it. I know. I had a t-shirt that says relax your arm.
So if he gets a bit too ahead of me,
right hand turn. Right,
I
I would do a right hand turn. Remember what we said last time? So if he starts to tiptoe in front, trying to catch him just before. That was it, lovely. And it's just a different tool. So you use it, we're doing exactly the same. We're just using a different tool to communicate with him. Everything else stays the same. Very nice. Hello, Prince. Oh, I could take you home. Don't think you'd fit in my car, mind you.
You have to give one of your boys up. I'll take Benny.
Okay. Lovely stuff. Does it feel? I mean, he walks nicely regardless.
Yeah,
when
it feels quite
there's
nice
not much
and light.
going on.
Yeah. He's not bothered by it, really, is he?
Lovely.
Come in.
Right, shall we see how this changes with the dog in the picture?
Yeah.
Keep him double clipped as he is, keep it as it is, and I will jump in if I need to. I can't imagine I'm going to need to somehow, but just as before, steering, guiding, let's see how much easier this is for you and how much more comfortable hopefully he will be as well.
So as I'm walking along, if he sees the dog and he goes behind and tries to pull or whatever, do I just keep trying to go forwards?
So if he's behind you and if you're walking this way, for example, and we appear behind you, if he starts to just like lag and slow behind to look behind, I would just keep going in the direction you're moving in. He should, theoretically, he should follow you, but we'll see and we'll refine it if we need to. But when you are walking in this direction, so if we're there and you are walking this way, if you feel, because he brings himself up ever so slightly, if you feel him do that and he's headed hell-bent on going that way, you don't always have to do a directional change. It kind of depends how intense he is. It might just be a little side step in that direction and then straighten up again.
Okay.
Doesn't always have to be a turn, especially as you spend more time around Frank. When I bring Frank back out again, the longer we're in here for, the less likely you're going to have to do that full turn because he's going to slow down. He's not going to be as aroused.
Good boy.
And nice.
Good boy.
That's good. And there's that fine line. So looking at dogs is absolutely fine, and I want him to look at dogs so he can learn how to coexist and share space. But it's when that looking becomes very intense and fixated, that's when he needs that help. Really nice. And this is all twofold. So we are, not only are we helping him learn to coexist better and showing him what to do, we're also actually going to make him a better communicator, because he shows all this interest, and you're in a really vicious cycle at the moment, shows all this interest, and because of that, other dogs are going to get their back up. They're going to think, well, what's your problem? So they will give that same interest back. Just watch that behaviour. That's it. Nice.
Yeah, like this morning, been out for a little walk, and I was just waiting by the car park, the daughter's school car park, and I was just watching cars go by and stuff with him. A guy had a little terrier walking towards us on the other side, and the terrier was getting a bit pulley and stuff. And then the terrier barked from across the road, and he barked. He was like, "Oh, like what was that about?"
Of course.
And then he got a bit like, "Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing?"
Oh, good boy. So already you've made this more challenging for him, which is good because
Good boy.
we need to know that he's learning. So the last time you got up to here, you actually turned away from him and had him on that outside edge, which was hard for him because as he got to about there, he was all dancey and tiptoey, but he actually made a good choice. Really nice.
So I was
good
too
lad.
busy chatting.
Okay.
But do you reckon
Nice.
this is because of the collar or because he's seen Frank
Both.
before?
Both. So it's a combination of everything. You know, we're an hour and a half into the session for a start, so he's probably a little bit tired now as well. It's quite a warm day, but I really do believe that a lot of this is because of the tool.
Yep.
Because he's only feeling that pressure when he needs to, and that's when you're steering and guiding. If he pushes into it, he'll feel that pressure, but otherwise he feels nothing. He's not got that stress of the slip or the slip collar or the head collar to add to the stress of the situation. Good lad.
Good boy. Give me.
Very nice.
Good boy.
But what we'll do, we'll prove that. I'll get a different dog.
Yeah.
See, I mean, it looks exactly the same. Spot the difference.
Yeah.
Only thing I'm going to say there, don't allow that length of lead. Don't let him wander out and give it to him unless you're going to give you a release marker, because we don't want to fall into the habit of just wandering, allowing more lead, because he'll ping out and we don't want him thinking he can disappear until you say, good boy, I'm a stinky.
But where are you going?
Boy.
Good boy.
Wow. Big shape. You're so shaky. I'm going to call you Stephen. That's going to be on camera. I forgot about that. And just a 90-degree turn into him, please. And again, ever so slight, maybe 45-degree. So specific.
Oh, school maths.
Yeah, if it makes you feel better, I'm thinking, what is 90? Good boy.
Come on.
So, I'm going to be nitpicky, sorry.
Yeah, no, go for it.
Try not to use any verbal.
Oh, okay.
Because in that moment, what we have to remember is that as lovely as it would be, he doesn't understand what we're actually saying to him. And in a moment where he's interested in something, if we start speaking human language to him, we're probably going to add to his arousal, maybe add to his confusion, potential frustration.
Yeah.
If he's getting stuck or he's looking like he's stuck, just use that lead to guide him and show him what you want him to do. Nice. Does it feel a little bit less of a fight?
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks a little
Still
bit less
looking,
of a fight.
obviously, but
Yeah, but he's going to look.
he's not looking and trying to go.
No, not at all. But he's looking, it's a softer look. So we have to look at it as a whole. When he's looking now, you can look, and you should look, because it's good for you to see the change. And when he's looking, there's actually not a great deal else that changes anymore.
Yeah.
Apart from this situation here. When he's closer, it's harder for him. I would probably keep going there. That's it. It would seem trivial, but it's just a little decision.
Yeah, that was me sort of allowing him to.
Good lad. But yeah, we have to look at the whole picture. So it's the body language as a whole. He's still nice and soft. He's nice and loose. Good lad. Well done, boy. Got a right little show pony walk, hasn't he? Little nudge into him there. Perfect. Keep going. Good. Relax your arm. Lovely. And that was building. So that interest was building. So as he walked towards us, you could see that he got a little bit more intense. He needed that little nudge into him just a touch sooner.
Okay.
Good lad. Beautiful. Okay, let me stick Benny away. Once we're out, if you want to allow him the length of lead, either unclip from the prong or the slip, and say, go on then, or whatever marker you want to use, and then he can kind of have a sniff at his own pace. Good lad.
Yeah. But let him loose, yeah? Can he go loose?
Just allow him the length of lead. I mean,
okay, fine.
If you want to pop a long line or whatever, you're more than welcome to. There's a blue one on the table if you want to use that.
I bought recently, just for on our yard, just so he can wear it out there. If a horse comes, I can sort of stand it. But what I find is that he'll go over that side and the lead will follow.
Yeah.
And then when I need to tread on it, it's over there.
Yeah. What I would, so with that, how did that feel, by the way? Sorry.
Yeah,
nice.
A lot easier, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't sort of try and, he's nearly sort of had a wobble,
a little moment, but what was important for me was to find out and to see whether that pressure would frustrate him.
Okay.
Because sometimes it can, when he's not that kind of dog. Generally it's the sport dogs that just get away with everything.
Okay.
It can frustrate them a little bit because it stops them from doing what they want to do. With the head collar, obviously he got frustrated by that, so that's why I wanted him to be double clipped, just in case. But he didn't get frustrated. There was no head turning to try and take it out on the lead or anything like that. If anything, he was less frustrated on that than he was the head collar.
And you're not surprised by that?
No. Not at all. It's not that restrictive pressure. And for slip leads and head collars, for them to stay on and stay where they're supposed to be, there's always that degree of pressure. With that, he doesn't feel anything until he needs it. And there's also the element of, if he is going to react, we need to know that launching into it will be consequential for him.
So I need to like read the signs earlier when he's look for a few more seconds, and it's all in his face. And the good beauty of this is that obviously he'll be on the website, so he'll be able to watch it back. As soon as he the best way to describe it, his face just goes really hard. When he goes really hard and his tail starts to flick as well, that is when he needs that little bit of help. But he doesn't always need that full turn. Sometimes it's just sidestepping into him. He doesn't need that sort of lift up.
No, he doesn't need any of that. That in fact, didn't have to do anything there. That try to save that for if he overreacts. But that just looked easier, and he looked, his body language just looked softer. Even from the moment we came in, he came up and then just went like that a little bit sooner. And as you walked away, I thought you would struggle because of how he was on the head collar, but he followed you quite nicely. So personally, if he were mine, I would go prong collar. Until you're at a point you're happy with, really, or if you want to continue using it. And I would also do some specific scenarios with the fence that you mentioned with the horses. I would also have him on the long line there.
On the prong?
So that you've got that ability to communicate with him and just have hold of it. Don't, obviously you can follow him, but I would start to change his emotional response of, as he goes to charge, I'll call him and use that line to make it happen, so you can teach a default of, okay, that makes me uncomfortable, I'll just go back to mum. And you'll do exactly the same when he's on his long line around dogs. So when he spots a dog, if that dog's charging at you, this is the only time this doesn't happen. If a dog's charging at you, get him back to your side as quickly as you possibly can. If it's not charging at you, and it's just mind his own business in the distance, when he spots it, call him, reel him to you, make it happen. If you do that every single time consistently, it'll become a default. Oh, cool, dog, I'll go back to mum. It'll just become a default response. And then you're already in a better position to be able to pass it. Even if it's a dog that's charging at you, he'll spot it and come back to you, and that's half the battle. He's already with you. If it's a dog charging at you, where possible, I would try to get yourselves moving. Try not to be a sitting duck. Try to move yourselves away. It's going to happen. We can only control what we can control.
We've had situations where, like, walking in an open field, and then I've come out to an opening and there's been two little dogs and the owner's somewhere over there. Like, all sort of going around him, and I just did that. I just kept moving. Like, he was absolutely fine with it, to be fair, but I could tell he stiffened up a bit, and then I got him moving. And I just basically said to all the dogs, "Come on, let's go." And they were talking like, "Okay,
you got 3 dogs."
Exactly.
Oh, bless him. But at least this setup would make it easier for you to manage those situations. But so you mentioned, obviously, towards the beginning, you mentioned how he behaves or how he reacts depends on how that other dog kind of responds to him. So doing everything we've done here will also make him a better communicator with other dogs. So at the moment, bless his heart, it doesn't mean harm. When he's doing that, moving towards a dog, he's basically saying in dog language, I haven't got good intentions. He doesn't mean any harm, but that looks very intimidating to other dogs. So other dogs are going to look at him and think, well, what's your problem? And they'll do the same thing. So that vicious cycle, they'll do that to him, he'll do that, and then he will probably overreact and be silly. But what we're teaching him, you look away, oh, thank God, that feels better. But also the dogs will also, oh, actually, he means no harm, because that's what he's saying. When dogs do that, basically saying, I mean no harm.
And so I've seen a couple of videos where you want the dog to look at something and then you reward him for that, so that he then looks to you for rewards.
You don't really need to do that with him, to be honest.
It's a bit awkward of him because he doesn't always want the treat.
No, and he's not at that point. He's not so obsessed with dogs that we need to do that. You're not at that point.
He's just inexperienced with...
exactly
how to socialise, probably.
Exactly that. He's just, bless his heart, it's just been a little bit rude, and we're just showing him you can communicate a little bit better. You're walking a bit funny because you've got the lead in your leg, mate.
Yeah, he does.
What a gait. Yeah, you're not at that point with him because he does make those choices of his own accord. He does look away. You're not at that point with him. I think with puppies and a rescue, for example, that's had no exposure, that would be quite a good thing to do.
Yeah.
But you're not at that point with him. You are, you're not at foundation level at all. You've got lots of stuff in place, and it's just refining a few of those things.
Okay.
Such a beautiful boy.
I'd throw a toy for you, but it's a bit hot, isn't it?
Just a little bit, just a little bit. That's scary, isn't it, mate? Scary camera. And the thing, so when dogs are off lead and they are interacting with one another, they're able to interact freely, especially if they've got good social skills, of course. As soon as they're on a lead and the solution isn't taken off the lead, it's to teach them what that lead means. But we take away that ability for them to communicate freely. They use a lot of space, so movement and looking away. The moment that lead's on, they can't really do those things. So then that tension builds, and that's typically where it goes wrong.
Right. Okay.
So interactions with unknown dogs. No interactions with unknown dogs. We're going to pass, we're going to ignore their background noise to us. And I also really don't like on-lead greetings. So if he were here and someone came over, can I say hello? Yeah, no, I really don't like that. The reason I don't
with
like
their dog or just people?
A dog. Yeah. Dog. If you want someone to say hello to him, by all means they can. If they ask, if they don't ask and they just go straight in, I would say no.
Yeah, a couple of occasions, like it's usually an old man with like a little fluffy thing, and they're like, "Oh, beautiful dog," and he's like crouching over it, and I could just see him just going, "Who are you?" And I just come on.
It's just, and then by the time they ask, it's too late. They're already over
Exactly.
it, and they're on the floor with him.
You feel a bit awkward saying, "Oh, can you not crouch over him or something?" Because
But don't be afraid to be awkward. Because much rather you say no than Dexter say
absolutely,
no. But the reason I don't like on-lead greetings for a number of reasons. But one, that thing I just mentioned about they can't communicate. But and then there's that grey area. I want to be black and white. I want you here. We're going to pass here. I don't want that. I'm going to have to say hello. I'm going to have to try and make that dog go away. Just black and white. It keeps it easy.
It's quite good because of him. Like everyone looks at him and goes, "Oh, I'm not going to let my dog go over to him anyway," which is fair enough.
Yeah. But how annoying that they're respectful of him, but.
I know. So I always make the point of going morning or whatever. I just, say, he's fine, but I just don't want you to come near us.
No, exactly that. But he's a very good representation of the breed. Yeah. They're not this dog that everybody makes out.
No, obviously, because we got him from rescue, we had no idea. Like, he was just an unwanted litter, apparently. Weren't told anything more, to be fair. He was one of 3 and he was the last one. So he was probably the runt, to be fair, but...
Runts are the best.
They are
he is. Yeah, our Malamute was the runt as well.
Beautiful boy, aren't you? You're just beautiful.
They're definitely
He's a good lad. I agree. Mine, my 2 cats, one of my cats, he was the runt and he was just everything. He's a really good boy. We've done a bloody good job with him. Oh, darling.
Being neutered as well, does that make them more anxious, or?
It can do. If they are neutered too young and they haven't had the chance to mature mentally and physically, obviously it's not great for their health, mentally or physically. But what can happen is if they have got a nervous disposition and we neuter them, the lack of testosterone, which is the hormone that gives them that confidence, can then make the nervousness worse. So ideally, when it comes to neutering, if that's a way someone wants to go, you want to make sure that they are stable before doing so. And of course there is the option of, it's irrelevant for Dexter, but with the chemical castration, which is kind of like try before you buy.
I mean, the vet, when we took him for his first checkup and stuff, I said about neutering, because obviously with the breed, obviously we had a little girl as well, so I was like, I'm a bit, I'd rather get him neutered, so I don't want any unwanted behaviour and stuff. And she said she would quite happy to do it early on, but we waited a year. And all he did was slightly sniff his playmate a little bit more, even though she'd been done. So I was just like, okay, well, let's just do it now.
And I don't believe that is having him neutered at a younger age. I don't believe that's why he's interested in dogs. If I'm honest with you, he's not hugely nervous. He's not a hugely nervous dog at all.
No, good.
He's a lovely dog. He's a really lovely dog.
And when we go on holiday and stuff, we've got a holiday booked for October, and my mum and dad are going to have him. And they've had dogs. They haven't got a dog at the moment, but they've had dogs in the past and stuff. I just want him to, be a bit better for them to walk him. And
October?
October. Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah,
Easy.
I know.
Easy by that time.
I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's not the type of dog I would want to put on a boarding or anything. I've not heard good things.
No,
We'd always get a family member to look after him.
Yeah,
but
I'm a bit precious with mine too. I wouldn't want them to just go anywhere. And I think it's important that wherever he goes, they're able to do what you're doing or keep up with it and maintain it.
He's got his crate or his pen that he sleeps in, and he goes in a few times a day anyway.
Nice.
So yeah, no, he's quite easy to be fair. It's just obviously out and about. I just worry like if someone else is walking him and he gets a bit silly.
Yeah, of course. But by the whole beauty of all of this is that it will just become a habit. So it shouldn't matter by that time who's got the lead because he understands what the job is.
Yeah. Sort of muzzles as well. Would you recommend a muzzle for him?
I mean, you can muzzle condition. He doesn't need a muzzle, but I would suggest conditioning to a muzzle because I think all dogs should be muzzle trained.
Okay.
Frank's muzzle trained. I'm in the process of muzzle training Benny because I think it's one of those things that's best to have and not need than to need and not have.
Okay. I was just thinking if when somebody else looks after him and takes him out for a walk, I don't know, it's just me getting a bit like...
If it gives you peace of mind, then do it. There is absolutely no harm because then you know if he's muzzled, he can't make a poor choice. But it's important that he's comfortable in one. And I think it's also important for vet visits as well because if he's ever in pain, we don't want his first experience in a vet or the first experience with a muzzle to be stressful. But it just, obviously dogs can't say to us, oh look, my leg's hurting. We're prodding and poking, that hurts, and then they'll show us in the dog way. So it just means it keeps him safe. Keeps him safe. In terms of muzzles, you could, for muzzle training, I would personally just...
Fall over my
that vodka she's had.
that stupid little bit of root, and I find it. For muzzle conditioning, you could go a little bit hard. You don't have to... I'm stuck. For muzzle conditioning, you could just use a Baskerville one, which the beige one, the tan one I would go with for him. Probably size 6 or 7.
Okay.
But for a muzzle that he's going to wear for an extended amount of time, you would want to make sure that he can pant fully.
Yeah, okay. That's one like a cage one, is it? Or is it a...
Well, there's lots you can get. So we've actually got one on the website listed, a custom vinyl one. But it's custom, so it'd be one that is specific for him, his size, and it would be you that obviously gives the measurements, so that it's perfect for him, allowing him to pant fully.
Get it, Dexter, get it.
Go on, Dex. Oh no, I got scared.
Oh, one other thing, right, which I always forget, like when I'm sweeping with a broom,
Bites it.
he's like, I'm not sure what it is, and he'll make a little funny noise, and then he'll chatter, and then he'll go to bite it. But then
those herding instincts kicking in, are they?
Yeah,
somehow?
I think it's that sort of prey thing.
Yeah, definitely.
I keep meaning to get him like a flirt pole, but when I use like a big stick and stuff, he jumps and bites near my hand. He doesn't go for the end of it.
Oh, he's got really poor target.
Yeah, exactly. So
I would probably start off his target with just the ball and a rope to begin with, so making sure that he's getting the ball rather than the rope. Game ends when he's got the rope bit, for example.
As in, like move, like hide the.
Or if you're engaging in tug and he grabs hold of it, making the toy go dead so that he recognises that holding on to that bit is not.
Okay, he's not going to get the tug. Okay.
Yeah, exactly that. But with the broom, I would work on teaching him an alternative, so having him on place, teaching him to settle with that thing, but also giving him an outlet for that behaviour. Flirt pole would be good. But again, if he starts to go for the handle, game stops.
Yeah.
That's not how we play that game.
And I've tried
to love it.
Yeah. I mean,
if you could play it properly.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And it's a really nice way of working on some like advanced obedience stuff. So a mid-chase down, a mid-chase leave it, a mid-chase recall.
Yeah.
All stuff that would transfer to the real world with him. You know, if he's chasing after, I don't know, if you're just playing with him outside and you throw a ball and then suddenly a spaniel or something appears in the distance, you've got that ability to call him off that ball so that he's then not at a ball with a resource and a dog that might.
Yeah, but I'm not particularly bothered that he won't be off lead. I don't really want him off lead in a public place, but obviously we've got space at home. But like if I come out of my front door and we need to get to the yard, which is like where the fence is, like that, and he sees a squirrel go that way, sometimes he'll go that way. And we've got like an open entrance like right over there, but then we've got a field here. But even so, he won't listen to me when I say leave it or come back. So, you know.
All ties in, and kind of treat that in the same way like with the horses and with the fence and with dogs in the distance, call him. The moment he spots it and goes smooth towards it, call him, reel him to you so you can make it happen.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's to a point I don't mind him chasing after squirrels, you know, he's a dog, but it's ensuring that if he goes to chase, being able to call him mid-chase, and obviously having the lead on will give you the ability to do so.
Yeah, when he's playing with his mate and that, I always make a point of stopping the play.
Lovely.
And yeah,
perfect.
Both,
no, perfect. You always want, you know, you want to be able to control it, and play can change very quickly. So being able to control it and stop it and regulate energy is a really good thing.
He does get quite maybe a bit too much sometimes for the other dog, but then she can do the same. So it's sort of,
if it's fair, that's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly.
If one of them is very clearly not reciprocating or being quite so full on, then we'd probably stop it. But if it's fair and they're both giving as good as they're taking, then by all means can carry on.
He normally stops when he nicks one of her toys and runs off. And she's like, oh, I'm not going to bother chasing.
Can't be bothered.
No,
can't be bothered.
Can't catch
I'm exhausted. Yeah, giving up. He's a lovely dog. He really is. Have you got any other questions at all?
I don't think so.
I think it's a matter of, you know, kind of getting out there, getting the practice in, and kind of finding your rhythm with it, really.
Yeah.
Because it is all new today for you and for him, and you will find your feet. You'll find your feet, and you'll see that progress quite quickly. But also giving him that exposure, but not overdoing it.
Yeah. Okay.
Good boy.
So it's just practicing with the tool, with the prong.
Is that the way you think you're going to go?
Yeah, that's what he's done best in, I suppose.
I think so. I think so. You mate. But it's certainly not, his behaviour's not because he's not getting his needs met, which is always a little bit of a concern whenever we get a working breed coming to us. It's always is this dog getting what he needs? But that is absolutely not the case.
Yeah.
He's, oh, good boy. All worn out in it, mate.
Just a game of like go find treats and stuff. Like he likes doing that.
Yeah,
and
good. It's good breed fulfillment.
If I take my daughter to the park or something, and there's equipment, you know, like climbing the salt course type equipment, he goes on that. And down.
Bless his heart. It's all good confidence building.
Yeah. And you've got a riding arena. I've got some jumps and stuff, so he likes going over those.
Yeah, agility basically.
Yeah. We don't envisage doing any like classes or anything, but it's just a bit of fun at home.
Yeah, it's just something to do, isn't it? Something different. I think Dexter's done anyway.